Disclaimer, this video exists for the purposes of entertainment, education, and theory rebuttal. Furthermore, considering the subject of this video is game theory, I want to make it clear that this video is not an attack on MatPat as a person outside of his chosen YouTube profession. I only wish to show the flaws in his theories and practices while creating theories. Unless there is substantial evidence, it is not assumed MatPat still stands behind the video in question, and when addressing older videos, I do so in a vacuum, speaking only to MatPat's assumed mindset at the time of the video's creation. If you harass or witch hunt anyone involved with this video, I will personally disown you. Thank you. I'm going to be completely honest with all of you right now. When this video came out, I saw this entire thing coming from a mile away. There was absolutely nothing about this that surprised me. Now, if you know of my activity on Tumblr, you'll know that on the 13th of September 2018, when September's Nintendo Direct came out, I was immediately on top of one particular announcement that I had no idea would blow up as much as it did. Peachette. I created a post titled, "Nintendo announced a little thing that's actually particularly troublesome, again," in which I complained about the existence of Peachette. In the days following, I also had discussions with other users over Peachette, digging deeper and deeper into her. For all I know, I was one of the first people to actually start talking about Peachette like I did. Not going to say I was the first, because I know I wasn't. Now, fast forward a month to game theory. This is where we are now. When I scripted this video, the video had literally just come out one day prior. I was really slow to get everything started with this channel though, so here we are over a year later. Sorry about that. Oops. I have a lot to say here that needs to be said though, because this is actually kind of sickening. With all that out of the way, let's get this started.
The recent Nintendo Direct introduced the world to the Super Crown, a power-up which apparently changes the character who nabs it into a peachified version of themselves. They showed its effects on Toadette, and that's all it took for the internet's imaginations to go wild. But while everyone else was busy searching for Bowsette content on, less brand-safe sites, did anyone actually stop to consider what happens when toads other than Toadette touch this thing? Like, say, yellow toad.
Yahoo!
And what's the other main color of toad? Oh yeah, blue.
Woo!
Did that just blow your mind? Wait, never mind, you're still busy looking at Bowsette.
35 seconds. I can't possibly have a problem after just 35 seconds. Unfortunately, I do. Hey MatPat! New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is a 4-player experience and Toadette's the only one that can use the Super Crown. That's right! Despite the fact that Aligold and Buckenberry are playable in this game, they're not able to use the Super Crown! Only Toadette is! Even at the time this video came out, we knew this! After this point, I'm skipping ahead, but I do want to point out that the entire next minute is actually extremely annoying to try to sit through. Now, I know, MatPat's been trying to do these real-life mystery game things, and this is probably related to that. But for anyone outside that circle, like me, this is just a full minute of a glitched intro that cuts into a horrifically long instance of the most unpleasant sounds that make me want to leave the video immediately. That said, we're skipping.
Mario, it's a cow. Oh, no, that's a Bambi.
In the trailer for new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, a name that would make Street Fighter proud, we get to see this nifty new Mushroom Crown hybrid power-up that's able to turn Toadette into a brand new character Nintendo is calling Peachette, who, for supposedly being this brand new character, looks an awful lot like Peach. She's got her own version of the floating jump that Peach has, she has the blonde hair, the pink dress. I wouldn't blame you if you thought that this was just Peach in a new costume, but if you look closer, it's clear that the two are indeed separate characters. While the different shoes could be shrugged off as a simple change of footwear, the dress has structure and lacks wrinkles, even when it's in motion. It really does appear to be just an oversized mushroom.
Really? You'll shrug off the shoes as a change in footwear, but won't acknowledge that the same can be done for the dress? The dress is clothing too, MatPat.
Additionally, Peachette has gray eyes, whereas Peach has blue, which is particularly interesting since with every power-up that Mario and Luigi have ever gotten, they always maintain the same eye color. Lastly, because no Mario episode would be complete without arbitrary pixel measurements, I did run the numbers, and Peachette is indeed shorter than Peach's canon height.
According to what? Where did you measure Peach from? How do we know your measurements are even correct if you won't tell us where your baseline data came from? I don't know what MatPat even means anymore when he says pixel measurements, really. If he's gonna bring this up like it's fact, he needs to show us how he came to this conclusion. Yes, like he said, it's arbitrary, but arbitrary doesn't give you the right to say whatever you want and pass it off as fact. Period.
Mario, it's a cow. Oh no, that's not cow, that's a horses.
To begin, the Super Crown power-up immediately throws one huge question into focus. Is Peach actually human? Or is she instead an evolved form of Toad? It seems like an absurd prospect that Peach could somehow be nothing more than a sophisticated shiitake, more morel than man. But looking closer, there does indeed seem to be more to this mycelial mystery than first meets the eye. I mean, she was originally called Princess Toadstool after all. Something that no one in their right mind ever had any reason to assume was anywhere close to being literal, until apparently today, modern Nintendo is weird.
Oh, don't pretend like you didn't use this as a point in a certain other theory of yours, Mad Pat.
But again, that was all just a name. Is there anything in the Mario canon that could possibly link Toadstool to actual toadstools? Yes. Yes, there is. The clues were hiding in plain sight for us since the very first game, and we'd simply been overlooking the evidence the entire time. Way back in the original NES manual for Super Mario Bros., it's established that Peach has a father, the Mushroom King. Quote, the only one who can undo the magic spell on the Mushroom people and return them to their normal selves is the Princess Toadstool, daughter of the Mushroom King. And if you think that's just a remnant of 1980s mistranslation or some poorly thought out first game lore, well, think again. The manual for 1999 Super Mario Bros. Deluxe says the exact same thing. Quote again, it is said that only the daughter of the Mushroom King, Princess Toadstool, can break the evil spell. End quote. So if Nintendo truly wanted to retcon this guy out of the story, that re-release would have been their chance to do it. So it definitely appears like he's a real entity in this universe.
Okay, I have to ask, why is this relevant? All that establishes that a Mushroom King exists. It's never explicitly stated that he's a mushroom. The mushroom in his title could simply refer to the fact that he's the king of the Mushroom Kingdom. He can still be human and hold this title.
What's more, he also has a wife. In 1987's official Nintendo Player's Guide, we see that, quote, the Mushroom people were ruled by a good king and queen. And what's more, despite them never once appearing in any game ever, we do get a chance to see them. A second release in 1987, How to Win at Super Mario Bros., which is another book created by official Nintendo employees, revealed for the first time imagery of the Mushroom King and his wife. King and Queen Stool. Look familiar? Both of them sporting mushroom heads, just like their subjects, adding to the evidence that Peach started as a little baby shroomlet.
You're gonna kill me here, Mad Pat. Besides the fact that Partners in Time exists and Peach has been a human the entire time as her baby form as a human, let's look back at the guide you just brought up. How to Win at Super Mario Bros. That's not the Mushroom Queen. That's Princess Toadstool. Don't believe me? Page 2 next to the picture Mad Pat just displayed. The kingdom is ruled by a gentle and peace-loving Mushroom King and his daughter Princess Toadstool. A queen is not mentioned anywhere in this book. Then there's the very next page, page 3, which displays an image of this crowned mushroom girl crying inside a castle with 2 toads. The text beside this image talks about Princess Toadstool getting kidnapped by Bowser, implying that that's what this image is supposed to portray. It's heavily implied that this mushroom girl is supposed to be Princess Toadstool, not a mushroom queen. Since that directly goes against what we actually directly see in Super Mario Bros., though, it immediately throws this book into the you can't use this as canon evidence pile. End of story, period.
And what's more, that's not her only familial connection here. In Super Mario RPG for the Super Nintendo, you can actually sneak a peek into Peach's castle's bedrooms. And while you might be distracted by Samus from Metroid being in the guest bedroom, or Peach's question mark hiding in the corner, yeah, that's a theory we covered before.
That I'm eventually covering.
They're not the only interesting things to see in this room. You'll also find an elderly toad woman simply named Grandma. Does the name necessarily prove that she's related? No, but she is trusted enough to be the only other person to know about Peach's secret personal item stashed over in the corner, so, you know.
Or this could be Princess Peach's trusted attendant and the closest thing she has to family left, considering we don't see that supposed Mushroom King in this game. You yourself admitted the name on its own proves nothing.
Regardless, we have a princess named Toadstool who has herself a fungal-headed family, which definitely starts to give some credence to the idea that she went from womb to shroom.
Human. Partners in time. Get out of my house.
Now, let's change directions for a minute. Instead of talking about more mushrooms, let's talk about bees.
The more I look into this turn of events, the juicier it gets, because this is eerily familiar. Let's go back to the day of the initial Peachette announcement when I made my Tumblr post complaining about it. Among some of the first questions I got about it, I was presented this point by a certain user verbatim.
Alternatively, this brings into question if Toad's work are more akin to bees, making Peach the queen bee equivalent and Toadette a peached bee, like a juvenile queen.
So I did some digging, and lo and behold, I found an article on a site called Nintendo Soup, dated 3 days after the reveal, with this to say.
On Reset Era, darker and serious theories about the link between Toadette and Peachette have appeared. One suggested that Peach's role in the Mushroom Kingdom is akin to a queen bee's role. Peach is the mother of all toads, similar to how the queen bee is the mother of all the bees in the colony.
So I found the thread, and someone there made the connection even before my source. And if that wasn't bad enough, it turns out that this was actually a theory that existed long before Peachette was even a thing. Case in point, Mr. Matthew Patrick's been stealing theories. This is hardly the first documented case either. MatPat, your theories are bad enough without the blatant stench of plagiarism on them. Stop that!
It's a cow. No, that's a llama.
Now, why would I digress and tell you about this little bee plot? Well, think about it. The Mushroom King literally disappears from the Mario canon after a last hurrah in a coloring book from the 80s. Being the only royalty left, Peach is, without question, the acting queen in the Mushroom Kingdom. Notice how in Super Mario RPG we see the throne room and there's only one chair, and it is specifically hers? Sure, she might be referring to herself as princess, but for all intents and purposes, she is the queen. This is important because toads are servants to Princess Peach. It's confirmed in the Super Mario Bros. Manual and reaffirmed pretty much every other time the toad's role is clarified in the lore.
Except in every instance of this role being clarified, it's in the context of toads that are in direct correlation with the princess. Let me put things this way. In Paper Mario Color Splash, while on Prism Island, Princess Peach introduces herself to Huey as Princess Peach from the Mushroom Kingdom. This implies that Prism Island is not part of the Mushroom Kingdom, yet the island is primarily inhabited by toads. Yes, they know of Mario and the princess, but they're not under Peach's rule. They don't serve Peach. This is just one example, but I think you get the picture. Not every toad actually serves Princess Peach, and a great majority of them have lives of their own outside the princess. Saying toads only live to serve Peach is ignoring facts.
This is not a cow. No, it's not a cow. No, it's not a cow.
Even the changes in eye color support the idea of a Toadette to Peachette to Peach maturation process. When babies are born, especially fair-skinned ones like Peach, they have light-colored eyes because they have very little melanin, a type of pigment that gives color to the eyes, skin, and hair. But after birth, light stimulates the production of melanin, which is why the eye color may darken or change over time. True story, when Ollie was born, he had gray-blue eyes, which have now become brown as his melanin has increased over the last 3 months. Now look at Peachette. Like I mentioned before, she has gray eyes, clearly differentiating her from Peach's blue eyes. But what if that's just because she's an early form of Peach? I mean, she did just change over. Give it a year, or in Peach's case a few decades, and that mature blue color will shine right on through.
What? Did you hear what you said at the beginning of this point, MatPat? Here, let me quote it back to you. When babies are born, especially fair-skinned ones like Peach, they have light-colored eyes because they have very little melanin. I don't know what you're seeing when you look at Peachette's gray eyes as opposed to Peach's blue, but in actuality, Peachette's eyes are darker than Peach's. This shoots the melanin theory directly in the foot and leaves it to die.
That's right. What if Peachette is merely an immature form of a peach? A young queen freshly groomed and ready to start her rule, only to grow taller and have her eyes change color as she continues to develop over the years. The evidence, quite frankly, is there.
Except that it's easily debunkable. Whoopsies!
But why now? Why would Nintendo keep this absolutely massive lore reveal quiet until this particular Nintendo Direct?
Because they never intended for it to be a major lore reveal, and we're all just looking way too hard into a throwaway power-up meant to lazily shove Peach into a playable role in the re-release of a game that never should have warranted a re-release, Mr. Matthew Patrick!
Well, remember what I said earlier. Queen bees aren't constantly being groomed. It only happens when the hive feels as though the current queen is getting old, or dying, or simply isn't around anymore, and they want to override the current queen with a new one, and it's that last reason that stands out. How many times has our princess been in another castle? Or out playing tennis? Or on the moon rejecting the advances of fertile males? I would venture to say that with all the kidnappings and spin-off titles, the Mushroom Kingdom might be feeling a bit neglected, a bit barren, if you will. After decades of Peach being away from the hive, the natural response would be to begin the grooming process and make room for a new queen. I mean, it's not like they didn't give Peach a chance, right?
How long is Peach actually gone at any given time? Give that some thought for a minute. Also, we're throwing recreational events into this? That's just stupid! We're talking about naturally social creatures here, MatPat. They'd make allowances for social activities, I'd reckon.
Toadette didn't officially arrive until 2003. That is plenty of grace time for Peach to get her act together.
The heck is that supposed to mean? No, seriously, what is the significance of 2003? Are you saying that the games all actually took place in the years they were released? Mario and friends would all be senior citizens if that were the case, Mad Pat. Quit being dumb!
But alas, she never did. And along the way, Toadette has popped up more, and more, and more, gradually making her presence known to the kingdom until the day that she would finally come. The day that she would finally transcend her worker toad form, take the super crown, and become the queen bee that the Mushroom Kingdom deserves.
You know what? I think I'll leave this one for the end. Save it for the big reveal moment.
But in order to do it, one thing stands in her way: Princess Peach. Remember all that talk about the grooming of the queen bee? Well, there was one teensy-weensy part that I left out.
Once the first virgin queen emerges from her royal cell, she begins to communicate with the other queen candidates through a process called piping, where she makes a sound called tooting. Yes, tooting like a fart. It's a signal to say that this new queen is ready to fight for the honor of being the one and only to sit atop the waxy throne. The rival queens answer back with a sound that's known as quacking. When the virgin queen hears the quacking goes to every one of the quacking sister cells and kills them, because in a game of hives, you win or you die after being chewed at.
To truly rise to the top of the kingdom, Peachette is gonna start tooting and have to put an end to the reigning queen. You heard me right, ladies and gentlemen. The introduction of Peachette could mean the death of Princess Peach. No extra lives this time. That's why there's only one Peach.
Oh, really? That's why we only have one Peach? Not because Peach is a human being and human beings don't tend to have duplicates of themselves just lying around? Who knew?
And that's why it's been so long until Nintendo revealed this. The hive is ready for a new queen. Super crowns are being produced and Toadettes are being groomed for the throne, consuming its power, growing into Peachettes, and eventually hoping to be the last one standing so they can mature into a fully grown Peach.
Implying there's more than one Toadette? In every single title in the Mario series, there is never a single instance of more than one Toadette appearing at any one time. There is only one Toadette, not multiple.
The worst part of this whole ordeal is that when Peach does eventually return to the kingdom, when she's finally rescued by Mario, she'll likely be killed by her own underlings. Your days of being chased by men and leisurely kidnappings across various galaxies have finally caught up to you, Peach. The deceptively cold, murderous eyes of Peachette will be the last thing you see before being eaten alive by tiny mushroom men. All hail Peachette! Long may she reign, the queen that the Mushroom Kingdom deserves.
You're all waiting for that point, aren't you? You want me to say it so badly, you can't bear me keeping you in suspense any longer. The Super Crown is a power-up. Toadette loses the form of Peachette when she's hit. Meanwhile, Peach keeps her form even when hit, as demonstrated by her multiple playable platformer appearances. Therefore, Peach can't possibly be under the effects of the Super Crown, as this theory would suggest, as she'd lose the effects if she were hit, which she doesn't. Also, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is a quest to rescue Princess Peach, and if Toadette was coming along as Peachette, she's not just going to up and kill Peach at the end. That's not family-friendly Nintendo content, Matt Pat. And that's all I have to say. MatPat wanted to act like he was bringing something new and revolutionary to the table while picking up someone else's theory and claiming it as his own. The major flaws of this theory were too tremendous for the theory to take, so it all came crashing down. Like a castle collapsing on the head of the great king of theories himself. Such a shame. If even one of you mentions Bowsette in the comments, I'm disowning you for life.
To truly rise to the top of the kingdom, Peachette is gonna start tooting.
Come on, MatPat, don't encourage them. They have enough fuel already.